Hey guys, Mr. Salona here. Today I want to talk to you about the procedure for the range of a marble lab and also the purpose. So the reason we're doing this lab is to investigate relationships between the start height, the speed, and the range of a marble rolling off a table. This is going to be a good practice lab for us to introduce, different types of mathematical relationships and some graphing. So we're looking at starting a marble at different heights on a ramp and seeing how fast it rolls off the table and also how far away it will land when it lands off the table. Next, you're going to want to make a spreadsheet like this one to record our starting height in centimeters, the speed in meters per second, and the range in centimeters. And you can do this on Google Sheets. I definitely recommend doing it on a spreadsheet program because we are going to graph this and we're going to learn how to do graphs in Sheets and then on Excel. So I would recommend doing it this way. This is the basic setup and equipment that you will need for the lab. So we have a ramp that's set up on our table. At the end of the ramp we have a piece of a Post-it note, and that's going to help to keep the marble from bouncing too much. We have a meter stick, we have a piece of black carbon paper and a large piece of white chart paper, and we have a photo gate, and we also have some tape. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that white chart paper and we're going to place it on the floor on the opposite edge of the ramp. So you can see that the marble is going to roll down the ramp and it's going to roll off the table here, so it's going to roll onto the floor. We're going to place the paper on the floor here. So what I'm going to do is take my chart paper and I'm going to place it on the floor. Now what I want to do, this is just going to make my life easier later on, is I'll take my meter stick and I'll put it flush against the edge of the table and then come down like this and make sure that my paper goes right up against that as well. And then I'll tape the paper down to keep it secure. Okay, so I'm looking at the ramp from the side here. Our job is going to be to start the marble at different locations along the ramp. And as we do that, we're going to measure the vertical height that it starts from the tabletop. So essentially, we're going to take our meter stick like this, and we're going to place it at the spot where the marble is. Now, my marble's not in the picture here because I don't have three hands, but you're going to put your meter stick so that it's vertical like this, and you're going to measure the height where the marble is, and I would use the bottom of the marble as my measurement. Now, keeping in mind my rules for significant figures, if you look at this ruler, it has centimeter markings, it also has millimeter markings. So I'm going to write down the number of centimeters, the number of millimeters, and I'm going to estimate the tenths of a millimeter because that's the rule. You always measure out to the highest precision the device will allow, and then estimate the last digit. So we're going to place it at different locations and we're going to measure its height. Once we have its height, then we're going to release the marble from that location, whatever it is, and allow it to roll down the ramp. And it's going to roll off the table. We want to take note of approximately where it landed. That way, what we'll do next is we'll place this black carbon paper near where the marble landed. So we place our black paper on top of the white paper. And then that way, when we roll it down again, it's going to strike the black paper. And what you're going to notice is when I pick up the black paper, there's now a dot on the white paper where it landed. So I could mark the spot, and if that was my first trial, I would write 1, or if it was my 5th trial, I would write 5 or whatever. So I did 2 here. So this would be 1, and this would be 2. So I would repeat that over and over again for all the trials. We're hoping to get in 10 total trials. As long as you get a minimum of 7, that's good, but 10 would be even better. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to use this device. This is a photo gate. The photo gate for our purposes today is going to measure speed. So I'm going to turn it on, and you'll notice that the meters per second is flashing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this at the end of the ramp like this. So you can see it there. Now, I have to make sure that I line it up properly so the marble doesn't crash into it. But basically, when I roll the marble and it goes through the photo gate, you can see that it measures the speed. So I would write that down for the speed. So when I do each trial, I'm actually doing three things. I'm measuring how high the marble started from the tabletop. I'm measuring the speed, and then I'm going to see where it lands. Now, it's easier if you do all the trials and then get your meter stick out. Like this, and you'll be able to measure how far away it landed from the tabletop once all the trials are done, rather than doing each one individually, picking up the paper and starting again. So that's basically it. You'll record all of your data, and then we'll talk about how to graph it.